There was a day I needed to go preach somewhere in Lagos. I was in a meeting in Calabar. I finished that meeting. The flight they booked for me suddenly was cancelled by an airline that is used to cancelling flights. And that was the only option we had. And so the only thing we could do was to book another flight in Akwa Ibom. And because the flight was 2 hours away, I was forced to use a speedboat. I carried life jacket and we hung on the speedboat, speaking in tongues. If we capsize here, unless God sends angels, what am I doing on a speedboat? The guy will navigate. I say, oh God, if we fall here, you go down. Apostle hung on a speedboat with life jacket, hoping not to fall in the water. As we arrived at Akwa Ibom, we entered. They said, no, check-in time has closed. Jesus, what do you mean? And I didn't know anybody in the airline. That's how our effort of flying a speedboat there became useless. We stood, we were looking at the plane. They said it was airborne. If we knew somebody, it would have been a phone call. There, you don't pray and fast, you make calls. Somebody would have called and say, open that plane, that man must be on that flight. But we didn't have that level of influence. The plane left. They now told us there's another flight in Port Harcourt that will leave in 3 hours. We checked our watch. Journey was over 2 hours. Pay for it. They paid for the flight. We started going. As we were driving, they said, wait. There is another flight leaving Akwa Ibom now to Abuja for 12. If we get to Abuja by 12, by 1, we can get another flight for 1:30 to Lagos. We paid for that one. We turned and came back. When we came back, they say, oh, this flight has been shifted to 4. I looked up and looked down. I say, what do we do? I have booked 4 flights. I will still miss the meeting. I have sat on a speedboat. I will still miss the meeting. And suddenly, I remembered that not every prayer goes to heaven. Others go to men. And I remembered I had somebody. I carried the phone and called him. And I said, I am in Akwa Ibom. He said, wait. I just asked. They say you have missed your flight. Give me 5 minutes. I didn't need to talk. The guy made the phone call. In less than 10 minutes, they reached back to me. Please, sir, sit down, relax. A private jet is coming to pick you. Kaba, Raka, Sakataya, Zeketa, Kaparato. Ayaye. Sir, sit down, relax. Immediately, in the same airport that we were running about, what shall we do? They came to me and said, sir, are you Michael? I said, yes. I put myself together immediately. Yes, I'm Michael. They said, please come with us. That was when I knew there was VIP there. I sat down. They said, do you want tea? They described. I said, bring tea. Bring tea. We need tea. Maye katakaya barakata zegera parato avele kazizaka. What are you talking about? They gave me a cup of hot tea. I crossed my leg and I sipped like a king. When I was done drinking, after 40 minutes, a private jet landed. Immediately the crew came. They started attending to us like kings. I squared my shoulder and walked into the... What are you talking about? When I landed Lagos, I came out of the car. I saw SUVs, black heavy vehicles. Apostle, please. Why not? You know, in that kind of situation, you walk smartly. Open door, I entered. That was how they drove me to the hotel. I chilled, relaxed. 30 minutes later, they carried me to the meeting. I was to preach for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Do you know how God works? It was that 10 minutes preaching I preached that the woman of God, Pastor Mrs. Sarah Omaku, heard me for the first time. And the day she invited me, come to my church and preach, I went there to preach. I left that service. She said, no, let's take an offering for this man. And they gathered 14 million naira for me. That's the money we used to pay for our first venue. This one is not prayer, it's spiritual networking. Because influential men are positioned in strategic places. I don't know where you are, but the grace for influence will rest upon you from this meeting.